Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Ruel. Thanks for tuning in. If you are a new listener, welcome to the show. I hope you stick around and find some value in the show. If you are a return listener, what's up guys? How's it going? As a matter of fact, how are all of you guys doing? Excuse that beeping, that's just my lack of a brain. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Well, let's just say I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm doing just wonder dandy. So, you know, I skipped the. You guys can hear that. What is that? So, hello. If you can hear me, hello. If you can hear that, that was me on my recording device. Now that should be fine now. Anyways, I was just trying to bring up some notes because this show is very, very organized, just like my brain, or lack thereof. So things are wonderful. I have to say that because I heard a country song, or was it not a country song? It was a different song that said something about things are wonderful, and I just kind of found that inspiring. So. From this day forth, I am wonderful. Wonder dandy. Yeah. Why don't we just get into it? Cut to the chase. You guys tune in here for running. I'll talk about running. My last significant bit of running was several episodes ago where I covered a 50K, my first 50K race. And I finished dead last. And something to be proud of because all of my running since then had been solo runs where I just took my sweet time, spent like 12 hours, 13 hours just smelling the grass out on some undetermined path. But you know, I've done the 50K distance before, just not in a race, and did that. That's old news. Lately have not been doing the type of running that I wanted to, and maybe that has to do with the fact that I do not have another race lined up, another event lined up, another solo mission lined up, and I think I will, because now that April is out of the way, I can try to focus on stuff like that. So maybe, I'll throw it out there, maybe June, something. Yeah, hope so, love to. Wave that carrot in front of me to get me out there, you know. And if it weren't for anything like that, you know, the type of running that I'd be able to fit in would be lunchtime, you know, in San Francisco, or on the weekends. Well, not so much on the weekends. Pretty busy on the weekends. But yeah, you know, and with the weather getting pretty awesome, with the sun and all, I want to take advantage of that. I really need to. You know, there was the previous week, I had carried my gear with me the whole time in my backpack, hoping that I'd be able to use it and go out for a run, and was just so busy, never had that chance to fit it in, and that sucks. Sucks. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. And I know I'm out of shape. I've still not tightened up a lot of my nutrition, so I think I need to work on that as well. Yeah, sure, I've played around with the extended fasts, but the extended fasts, it just proves that I can go without eating for an extended period of time. But if the periods of eating end up being a bunch of garbage, then it's not good, is it? Is it, Lonnie? So anyways, I brought up April. April's significant. Why? Because I hate the tax period, the tax filing period. It does make me feel less wonder dandy, less wonderful. It makes me quite depressed, to be honest. So I'm always questioning what April's going to look like. But at the same time, I can't make April be just one big ball of depression, because April happens to be when birthdays are still celebrated around the family, and those have to be joyous times and whatnot. And so there's this, unfortunately, this weird mix, and I think I use celebration food as a coping mechanism for the bit of depression that may happen around tax time. So yeah, sucks balls that suck. But yeah, so most recently I did more fun foods, and I'm not proud about it, but I did really enjoy it. But that's just something that kind of can demonstrate that the more you do the fun foods, the easier it is to get into the fun foods. The further you are away from denying yourself, pushing those things away because you know that they're garbage, the less push away ability you have. That's just me, right? So it's unfortunate, and I'm out of shape for it. I've got a gut again, right? Well, it's not that bad, but I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it in my clothes. I'm starting to feel the way things fit differently, and I gotta put a stop to that. I gotta fix things. Anyways, that's that. So what else is going on? That's a little bit of that's the running. The type of running that I want to do is I'd love to get into another 50K, just to get those churning out more regularly, and it's a good amount of time to challenge myself. 50K, it's a good challenge. Not used to the 50K distance on a trail with an 8.5 hour cutoff. It's new for me. And anyways, gotta see what's out there. Gotta hit up the Ultra sign up and see what's out there, and I'll keep you guys posted. And meanwhile, you guys can let me know what's going on in your world. I'd love to say, and so-and-so, because that's his first name. So-and-so last name, that's his last name. So-and-so last name had just contacted me and told me that he's going to be doing such and such event. Yeah, root him on. Catch him on social media. Be his friend. Or catch her on social media and be her friend. So, moving right along. I was talking about fasting, and when I've done the extended fast, and when I've kept away from the fun foods and been as NSNG as I possibly can be, right? And did that whole combination of NSNG and the fast. What I found is that I spring back pretty quick, and at least that's how I'm feeling now. I'd hate to take that bit of information about myself and figure that I could be super relaxed and yo-yo, because that's not the goal, and that's not good for the body, is it? Doing the whole yo-yo thing, that's kind of that goes counter to the lifestyle. Yeah, back to the fun foods too. I stepped back and I looked at the whole year and what it looks like, and there isn't a whole lot. There's a whole lot of opportunities to have fun food, and you guys are probably the same. Let's start off with January, right? You just come off of a whole season of fun food and putting life into living with New Year's, right? Then guess what happens? Maybe you're in a relationship. Maybe you're in a wonderful relationship in marriage, and February rolls around and you got to do something for Valentine's Day, right? And if it's not, the conventional celebration, it's just, you want to take that time to, have a special meal, have a special dinner, just to celebrate, the relationship. So, that's a possibility of where you think you have a break from New Year's. You probably only have like a month and a half to try and recover from all of the fun stuff from New Year's till Valentine's rolls around. But let's say there wasn't Valentine's. So yeah, you go past January, February, you're recovering, right? And in my world, April rolls around and that's a time to celebrate, so there's going to be some life into living there, right? Okay, fine. So let's say April's out of the way. I'm going to chill out in May. Oh, maybe not. Isn't May Mother's Day? The month of Mother's Day? So, and I just totally blew past the fact that there's also, if you celebrate Easter, brunches and whatnot, that happens in April. So April's got more stuff in my world to dig into. I mean, yeah, I can make better choices. So that's just me having to work on stuff. So April rolls around, May rolls around, June, try to get serious, clean things up, stay as straight as possible. July, same thing. It's summer too, you want to just be more active. August rolls around, that's a different story. There's tons of birthdays in my family for August, so there's there's that room for life into living, but just in August alone. September, I'm gonna have to clean it up. October, family birthdays, right? So life into living happens there. November rolls around, end of November, what happens here in the U.S. Thanksgiving rolls around, so you're like, not to mention back in October, which is never really a life into living moment for me, with Halloween. But okay, so just forget Halloween. But November, Thanksgiving, December, the Christmases and all of that holiday stuff, and we're back to January. So, there's a few spots in the year where, try to recover from these intermittent life into livings. And if you're not careful, like I've not been careful lately, may end up with a little bit of a pouch, a papa-de-pooch. Yeah, oh well. I still fit in the clothes that I want to fit in. They're just not fitting as optimal as I'd like. So, yeah. Boo-hoo-hoo. It's a struggle. And that doesn't even take into account all the emotional sort of psychological stuff that happens with trying to cope with so many other things in life. Relationships, work, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's how things have been running lately. So, you can hear my heart and lack of a brain kind of continuing to beat intermittently as it attempts to try and find some other organ to get a signal from. So, this portion of the recording is days, maybe a week, I can't tell, ahead of that last bit that you heard. So this may very well be just its own episode, so you'll be listening thinking, what are you talking about? So if that's the case, then last episode just kind of wrapped up more awkward than usual. So my hope here was to actually pick up and kind of wrap things up. So I'm going to do that. Assuming I can recollect exactly what I talked about before and not kind of regurgitate the same old blah 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 blah, blah thing again. I talked about the running bit. So I'm just going to talk about other stuff that I found amusing and maybe even infuriating throughout my days on this planet. For example, the other day, which I can't count the number of days it's been, but I wanted to talk about it, was I can't remember the last time I went to a Burger King. Gosh, it was a long time. But those years in between the last time and today, those years that have gone by since my last time at a Burger King, haven't faded the memory of how eating Burger King food really makes me sick. Not that, I get the flu right after eating a Whopper, but, because I'm a pig, I'll pound down whatever burger combination I would order, and then the resulting crap session in the bathroom would be just like as if I had dumped the devil himself, who was already deceased and had defecated himself because he had eaten some Burger King. Just gnarly. So, apologize for the colorful description of the devil. But, so, I went to this Burger King thinking not because I wanted to go chow down on some of their food, but I had to take a trip, drop my wife off somewhere to do some sort of store purchase or store return, and nearby was a Starbucks, but even nearer was a Burger King. And I had at least one of the little ones with me, probably the littlest one, and I wanted a coffee, like I often do. I wanted a coffee, but I didn't want to go through the whole process of finding a parking and removing her out of the vehicle, just standing in line getting the coffee and all that stuff. So I figured I'd do one of the two, the one that has a drive-thru, and this Starbucks didn't have a drive-thru, but the Burger King did. And I'm okay with Burger King coffee, like I'm okay with McDonald's coffee. It's coffee. So I'm like, shoot, I'm going to go to this Burger King and get me a coffee. Go through the drive-thru. And at this point, it's the afternoon. And sometimes at the last minute, I think I need to ask when I get to a place where I'm about to buy coffee. I have to ask, do you have any coffee? Because a lot of these places just stop making it after a certain time, or they have a junky burnt batch of coffee, or it's all been sucked down by other coffee junkies like me and they need to make a new batch. So I roll in through the drive-thru, and then I'm asked what would I like to order, and the first thing I ask is, do you have any coffee? They're like, oh no, we stopped making it, or we don't have any more coffee. And at that point, I'm often pretty annoyed because you have it on your menu. You don't say asterisk up to a certain time of the day. But I knew to ask anyways that there's a good chance that they would have not had any available. So I asked, and they was like, no, they don't. They stopped making it. And there wasn't any chance that they were going to make any more. And there wasn't even an apology, like, I'm sorry, we don't have any coffee today. Just sort of like, yeah, we don't have any coffee. You know, like, okay. A little bit more annoyed that there wasn't any apology. And then, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to order anything. I'm not going to order anything then. Well, before that, I'm like, well then, can I just get a cup of ice water, right? That way, I don't walk away with anything, with nothing in my hand. I have something. Maybe my daughter would like a little sip of water, and she says that it's going to be $1 or something along those lines. I'm like, what? For a cup of ice water that you know? I mean, if I was buying a bottled water, I can understand paying $1. But quite often, just a little dispenser of water off of the fountain thing, the fountain dispenser, you know, in a little cup, not a big deal. So I'm like, well, then I guess I'm not ordering anything then. So there I was, going through the Burger King drive-thru, and without anything, and just kind of driving on through the window. That was annoying. It was.
Coming up, Rue gives us something else to think about. How vague is that, Ruel? Geez. Could you be any vaguer, Ruel? Well, it's all coming up on Ruel's Running. Okay. The book is called Eat Happy, Gluten-Free, Grain-Free, Low-Carb Recipes for a Joyful Life by me, Anna Vicino. Eat Happy has 154 delicious grain-free, gluten-free recipes that are also free of any processed sugars. There are meats, fish, sides, soup, starters, casseroles, slow cooker recipes, breakfast dishes, and even desserts to satisfy any sweets craving you might have, all with virtually no sugar. If you are low-carb, paleo, are wanting to keep autoimmune issues at bay, or just want to lose extra weight, Eat Happy gives you comfort food where you won't miss the sugars or grains, so your body and brain can feel happy from eating real food. Okay, go get it then. Now's your chance. Yay! Yay!
Now, I guess I'll talk about one more thing, and then I'll wrap it up. And I've got a bunch of other things that I want to talk about that I'll save for later episodes. So I guess what I want to say is, this is sort of a safety thing. So this is related to health. As a big truck rolls on by, I apologize for the for the background noise, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm a man on the go, doing a podcast. So this is sort of a health and safety observation and concern, and sort of a reminder that we can go on day to day comfortable, but there's still a level of awareness that folks that aren't used to it need to have. What am I talking about? Well, I ride the train, right? I ride this train to work almost every day, right? A lot of people do. It's public transportation. It ain't a thing. But I was taking the train back from the office one day, and I sat in a part of the train where there was a lot of free space in front of me. Space that's usually reserved for folks who can't catch a seat when it's really busy, or certain spots designated for the handicapped. So if you had a wheelchair, you had a place where you can park yourself, there's a lot of space. Or if you are a rider who has a bike with him or herself, they can attach the bike up against the rail by the wall It's a lot of space. So on this particular afternoon, there was a pretty, I want to say, crispy dressed guy, meaning crispy and new. The dude had jeans on, nice and crispy and new. Not like mine, they're all... I hardly own a pair of jeans without holes in them, and I think I've talked about it before. And, but this guy's jeans were new. I noticed because I didn't look up. I just kind of kept my eye level low because I was working on my computer at the time. And I noticed his shoes because he kind of stopped moving around in front of me to deal with some unlaced shoelaces, untied shoelaces. And he was acting really awkward because, to me it was awkward because the train wasn't moving and he was already off balance, and he didn't tie his shoelace. He just tucked it in somehow awkwardly in the shoe. The other one was tied, it was fine. Maybe he doesn't know how to tie a shoelace, I don't know. But I noticed his shoes were pretty crispy and new looking. And at some point I look up, and I'm not judging his clothes. This is after the fact. I can remember how this guy was dressed. He had a nice, looked like a brand new T-shirt, and I don't think the newness of his clothes meant anything. It's just a bit of me painting, describing stuff. Okay. So he's awkward, he's off balance a lot, he's got crispy clothes, new clothes. He's not poorly dressed. So, normal guy. But he really caught my attention and a lot of others when in the middle of this empty space, he sort of does this, this move, like he jumps and poses, kind of like, if you ever caught that movie Superstar with the former SNL star Molly Shannon, like a forward lunge with her hands up in the air, wearing a schoolgirl outfit, saying Superstar, right before she puts her hands in her armpits so that she can smell them, her sweaty hands. Yeah, so he kind of does this awkward forward lunge pose, and his torso is a bit contorted, he's twisting, and that ended up being his usual behavior, just weird, contorted, twisting up and down the train car, scaring the Asian-looking tourists, whose first time experience riding the train. And I'm like, okay, so this guy is on something, or whatever. But even with that in my thought, I'm like, I'm not concerned, So through majority of the ride, this guy is doing this thing. And then at one point in the ride, he does his move, one of his fancy moves, and then he jumps into a spot of the train where there's a slot panel along the wall, and he opens the little slot panel, which is where the lever for the emergency brake is. So if somebody pulls that while the train's in motion, it ain't a good thing. So he kind of opens it up, and he kind of looks inside, and he kind of reaches in, but does nothing. And the hand that he had reached in with, I noticed he had in his possession a lighter and a pipe, some sort of smoking drug paraphernalia. And I'm like, okay, he's on what I can only imagine to be meth or crack. I don't know. I don't know what's needed to consume these products, right? I know what it's like to smoke something because I've, in my teens, smoked cigarettes. So he had a lighter, and I can imagine only being a pipe. I'm pretty sure it was a pipe. He didn't do anything with the emergency brake, but he left the slot panel open. The train had stopped at one of the stations, and he got out in his unique way. He had like sweat on his forehead. He was baked or done or cooked, toasted, fried, you know. And when he stepped out of the train, the guy that I was sitting next to got on his phone and called the authorities, called the train station, the transportation police. Over here they call the BART police, just to let them know that there was a guy on the train who got off on that station and how he was behaving and probably what he was carrying. So didn't feel any danger. But more recently, you know, in the past weekend there was an incident at one of the stations that involves this transportation system, where the reports was 30 to 40 teens had ran into the station, onto the platform right when a train arrived, and entered one of the cars, held the door open, and basically robbed passengers of stuff. And a couple passengers suffering injuries, you know, like being punched in the head or something. And I know how big these cars are because the other day I was looking at it and I was kind of counting seats for half of the train. And 30, 40 people will easily take up half of the train car. So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of, you know. And the incident, if I remember correctly, the incident happened in the evening on the weekend, like at 9:30, at a station in a town that unfortunately has its share of not having the best reputation as far as low crime rate. Right? I don't have any statistics, but you know, every large place has their share of spots that, you know, have a vibrant, thriving crime community. so, you know, since I take the train every day, you know, this was concerning, right? That this stuff happens. And it's funny because throughout the workday, the morning commutes, the afternoon commutes, weekdays, you know, it seems harmless. But on the weekends and late evening, you know, it's a totally different thing. And fortunately, me, my family, we don't spend time in the evening riding the train, passing by these particular stations. But still, you know, I can't help coming from a background of, you know, self-defense and inflicting pain and harm and self-defense and inflicting pain and harm, you know, it's a reminder like, okay, yes, you know, can't fall asleep, need to be aware, can't be paranoid, but there needs to be an awareness. There needs to be, okay, time to do the mental game. What can I do to be prepared in a situation where a half train car's worth of people basically bum rush the thing and want shit from me and from others, right? So this is the health and safety conversation. What do you do? Well, it goes without saying, you know, I'm a badass. Right? I'm a hero. I want to be a superhero. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But what I can't help but do is play with these games in my mind, like, you know, here I am dealing with a situation and coming out on top, which is just pure fantasy, right? but I know what I'm capable of, and I know that given being presented a bad situation, there's no way I can figure out what's gonna happen and who's not gonna get hurt and who's gonna, all that stuff. But this is what I do know. None of the stuff that these guys took are worth dying for, right? So the question is, what is worth dying for, right? And that's personal. That's up to each and every one of us. To me, it's my family. If my family was with me and they were going to do harm to my family, I'm putting myself on the line for them.
San Francisco, Mayo City, Great Falls, Platform.
And that's that. The rest can be left to the imagination. Just need to keep aware, be aware, be safe. All right, guys. I'm in the train, doing my thing. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Am I carrying anything that I can use as a weapon? Yes. It's very pretty. No one would know that it's a weapon, that it could be used as a weapon. So what I wanted to, before I wrap up, I want to just remind folks that abadam.com does exist as a place for folks to go if they want to, utilize me as sort of someone who can help with various things, whether it be a little bit of artwork or a little bit of, just go there and see what's available. I do some design and stuff. I can help stuff. I can help folks out with, podcast related stuff, and kind of very well rounded. Get my hands on a lot of different things, and the one common thing that all of these things that I like to do provide are things that are sort of creative. I'm not saying that I do any of them well. I just do them. I've I've had the opportunity to help some folks out already, and I'm open to seeing who else is out there who might need my services. So check out abadam.com. Once again, abadam.com. That's just my last name, .com. And I wanted to throw something else out there for you folks. I did talk about wanting to get into another long run, maybe during the summer. And there is a trail event, a 50K trail event that I'm interested in doing. I don't know how long registration will be up, but for this particular event, it's $125. And $125 may be nothing to some, but it may be a lot to most. And for me, at the moment, it's a lot. And it's the price that folks have to pay to be able to benefit from, the race, the organization, the aid, all of that stuff. And that's the big draw for me. Not just being able to do another long run, but to do it in a set of trails that are near home, and to be able to have aid stations along the way, people rooting you on, that kind of support. It's all worth it. So I'm going to try and do that, but I want to throw it out there for everybody who's listening. If anybody is interested in sort of, sponsoring my way into the event, or contributing to my registration, I wanted to throw that out, see if that's something people would be willing to do or interested in doing, anything. And in return, I get to give you a shout out. I get to promote something that you want promoted, and talk about heavily on the show. I'm happy to do that in return. So I'll put that out there. And, I haven't put a lot of detailed thought into how that I would go about doing that. I do have a donate button somewhere on the site. I need to probably change to be, I guess, stand out, so folks can know where to go exactly should this be something they're interested in doing. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Folks, let me know. Hit me up on the website. Let me know. Hit me up on social media. Hit me up on Twitter. All the links to those social spots are there on the website. At Twitter, for Twitter, it's at Ruels Running. It's at Ruels Running. What am I thinking? At RUELSRUNNING. On email is ruelsrunning@gmail.com. So, and go to the website, ruelsrunning.com, folks. That's it. I have got to wrap this up, and I'll pick up with all the other topics and things that I want to share with you guys in another episode. So once again, eat something delicious, hug your family, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.